All I'm saying is that it'll make me unhappy if this goes the way it usually does. So let's just, if there was one day you were going to try, let's make that today. Hello, I'm Marc Evan Jackson, new permanent host of the Kevin Pollak Chat Show. Welcome, and thank you for joining us today. That's a joke. I'm not the new permanent host. This is a one-off opportunity for me. Kevin is busy shooting a movie with Bradley Whitford, from what I'm told. Is that correct?
Yes.
Answer number one, correct. If you have consumed media of any kind ever, you are likely familiar with today's guest. He is a comedian and a published author and an actor, and he writes for award shows and late night comedy and has done just about everything. You know him from a ton of stuff, and with hope, after today, if you don't already, will know him from his recently released CD, The Chronicles of Federman. Please welcome my guest, Wayne Federman. Hello, Wayne Federman.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
There are three
Marc.
people up in the balcony.
Those are the ones
couldn't be further. Couldn't be in the space and be further away from where we are. Wayne, thank you so much for doing this.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Congratulations on being the permanent guest host.
Thank you.
I just heard that.
Yes, I just made it up, so it's breaking.
So what happened? Did you audition? How did it all happen?
I auditioned over the course of knowing Kevin for 10 years or so.
How many times have you chatted with him at this table?
Once, and it may have been this table, but it was in a wholly different part of Santa Monica.
Right.
Back at the old Mahalo.
It's interesting because I've done it twice, and yet I wasn't asked to guest host.
That's interesting.
Yeah, go ahead.
We can flip-flop. See, now I feel like you've set up a status relationship.
Oh, they did?
We can flip-flop. I'll do half an hour, you do half an hour.
Maybe.
This will be great.
No, I'm pretty good. I don't know if you've heard. No. I mean, I'm pretty good at being a guest, and I don't know if you've heard me.
I'll be the judge of that.
All right, of course. But usually I end up always asking questions because I'm naturally curious.
Well, I think that's an important part of.
Of what? That was a question.
That's what you've done.
Yeah.
You turned the tables. As I mentioned just a moment ago, I'm super glad that we did not arrive dressed identically.
I know.
Because it's possible.
Yeah, we do. I do have the, what's that called, cardigans?
Yes.
I do wear the sweaters, and although one difference I noticed is I don't jewelry anymore. You have two pieces.
Well, this one's not technically jewelry. It's
not?
It's an anchor to a public acknowledgement of a relationship.
I love it. It's a wedding band?
It is, yeah.
Love it. I used to do a joke about it that I tried on a friend of mine's wedding band just to see what it was like.
Yeah.
And it was it felt very, very tight around my neck. Like I couldn't breathe.
That's a good bit. Oh, I get it. That's very funny. You don't jewelry anymore. What did you used to do?
I used to wear a watch. That got replaced by my cellular phone.
Sure.
And then I had like a crazy kind of hippie kind of necklace thing for a little bit.
Go on.
Just like for a year.
What was it? Like puka beads kind of thing?
No, what'd you say?
Puka beads? Isn't that a thing? I feel like that's a thing.
I think it's puka shells.
All right.
Am I wrong?
I think you're
you can check it out.
I think you're entirely right.
Anyway, I don't know. I wore it. Just, but again, I'm always afraid I'm going to get strangled accidentally at night, and gets caught on the pillow or something, and then I die.
I don't understand baseball players that wear them.
Yeah,
outfielders that like run and stuff that have big gold.
I mean,
not rap star chains, but like something fairly.
Yeah, substantial.
Yeah.
I agree. I would think that would.
I wouldn't get
distract you.
Did
you play professional baseball?
Yes, to this day. I'm still. In fact, we need to cut this short because I'm playing with the Kansas City Royals in a little bit.
Today?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Of course, it's Sunday.
Yeah.
Question. I just last night, because we're kind of improvising, saw a movie called Don't Think Twice.
Don't Think Twice.
I was going to say Don't Look Back, but that's another Dylan thing. That was his documentary, right? Don't Look Back.
Oh, I know very little. You'll come to find over the next hour that my frame of reference is I just dressed this way.
Because you seem like you're erudite.
I know.
It's all
Yeah, I don't even know what you meant by that.
Okay. Well, anyway, I saw this movie, Don't Think Twice.
You saw it. I haven't seen it yet.
Saw it last night.
Yeah.
Saw it last night.
What'd you think?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. And it's about improv.
Right.
It's about improv, which, were you trained in it?
I trained by doing. So I never really,
Right.
I never really studied acting or improvisation, but I just started doing it, and then, like a lot of things in the improv world, you've done it for not enough time, and they're like, hey, can you teach a class?
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
You taught a class?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I taught for years, but the first classes that I taught, I was woefully unqualified to teach, I'm sure.
All right. Who was your most famous student?
I had a student, I think probably...
Tina?
Yes, she's... No, she was a god to me. She was? She was in Chicago when I was in the second city in Detroit.
You say god, not goddess. You try to...
Right.
Okay.
She's an actor in my mind. She was on the stage. I just last night showed one of my favorite sketches to my wife on from YouTube. And
this is the same?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I only have one wife currently. First and current wife. This video on YouTube of the Second City cast, which had Rachel Dratch and Tina Fey and Kevin Dorff and Jim Zulovic and Scott Adsit and Jenna Jolovitz.
Right.
And these were guys that were like this. They were the Beatles when I was first starting to improvise, and then even when I was in the Second City in Detroit. Like, these guys were the real thing. My most famous student, I think, is probably...
It was more just a joke. You don't have to...
Oh, it's true.
It is?
Tim Robinson is a...
Because that was kind of a little bit of the theme of that.
Oh, yeah.
Of like, oh, you taught the guy.
Right.
It was interesting.
Oh, it's... So Don't Think Twice is a movie about the sort of insular movie about inside baseball of improvisation and the hope to get hired for an SNL type show.
Exactly,
right? Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's, it's about envy and how long can you do it, and is improv in itself enough of a life, or is it just like high school? Like at one point you have to graduate from doing these things. It was really fun.
Keegan-Michael Key is one of the stars of that movie. And I was in the cast with him.
You were?
In the Second City, Detroit. So this movie is like very close to everybody's heart that's ever been in a cast and watched somebody, be upwardly mobile the night that industry's in the house.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, it's a lot about that.
Oh, we all show about it. Yeah, we all were cowboys on those nights.
Say that again?
We all were cowboys on this. Like you'd take your moments knowing, like, I hear somebody from Mad TV or
That's
whatever.
exactly what but it's antithetical, because I've not really done long form improv that much. I was in a couple improv groups to the idea of it, which is it's all about the group and supporting someone else.
It's all about the ensemble. It's all about making your partner look good.
Right.
Until showtime, when it's game on.
Game on.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead. Let's ask some questions. Sorry. I used to
refer to it as a Darwinian ensemble because it was a great thing,
really?
Except it's also survival of the fittest for sure. Yeah.
You're kidding.
Mm-hmm. What are your dietary restrictions?
Restrictions. That's a good. I've never been asked that question. So first of all, congratulations.
Best permanent guest host. No, permanent host.
You're taking over the show. Yeah. Do I call you Mark?
Yeah.
Marc Evan.
Oh no, Mark.
Okay.
No, Evan's my middle name.
Well,
it's not hyphenated.
Okay, I was confused.
Can we start again?
What was it called? Dietary restrictions. Only things I don't like the taste of. No food I'm allergic to.
Okay, and no religious violations. No. Okay.
No. I'm Jewish, but I don't listen to any of those laws.
Cool.
Have you ever had a cheeseburger?
Yes, of course.
I love them.
Yeah.
That's against
That's
the
a
Jews.
Milchig, Fleischig thing, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That wasn't really one of my questions, but I am curious about, are you an only child? Do you have siblings?
It's a good question, because I usually don't talk about my family, but I know. This is how you got this job.
Yeah.
This is how you kicked Kevin Pollak out in a Darwinian
ensemble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See? I come from a very interesting kind of there's 6 kids in my family.
Yeah.
2 of them have passed away. It's really sad. You don't want to go into it.
I'm not
it's
going
like
to.
It's a whole, but there were many siblings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you fall in the birth order?
Well, there was 4 original.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then my dad died, and my mom remarried, and 2 other kids. So I still feel like we're full, but of the original 4,
2 remain.
I'm the youngest.
Okay.
And then there's 2 other half, but I've never even thought of them as half.
Right.
Right. But they have a different dad.
I understand how it works.
First of all, I love it. Love it. Love it.
It's very cool of you to talk about that. Thank you for doing it.
You're welcome.
Do you think being the youngest of the original influenced?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought about that for a lot. There's a lot of comedians that tend to be the youngest, sometimes the oldest.
Sure.
And but
Rarely
as a rule, the youngest is like, at that point you're just seeking some kind of attention.
Right.
And you're also, because there's older siblings, your verbal skills are going to be higher than if you.
Right.
You agree with that?
Totally. And I'm a younger. I have a weird.
Also.
Just a little, in the sense that I have 2 older siblings. My sister's 11 years older than I am. My brother's 9 years older than I am. There was a child in between who passed away, sadly.
Oh, interesting.
And then
this is Death of Sibling Day. Yeah. This is, guys, thank you for tuning in.
It's a very special Kevin Pollak chat show. And then then my parents, waited some time and then had me, or arguably made a terrible mistake. So I simultaneously grew up as the youngest of 3, but also kind of an only child with 4 parents, because my siblings were older enough that they would when I would get in trouble, I'd get in trouble downstairs and be sent to my room, and my siblings would come in and be like, I'd get it again. They'd be like, if I had done that,
right,
I would have gotten spanked. But yeah, did you know you were funny? Like, were you a class clown, or were you in the back sniping?
That's a good question. Again.
Thank you.
I think I knew I liked attention.
Yeah.
Like, I even remember stories of at kind of family gatherings, not at the house, but when we would go to like my aunt's house and with cousins stuff, that I would always sing. I did this kind of double talk. Do you know what that is?
No.
That's where you sort of say words that don't mean anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, show me.
Well, it would be kind of a situation where you're saying a word, but and then you often came back.
Oh, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
There's an older comedian that did this whole
thing.
Al
Kelly used to do that.
Double speaking so fast and
incredible.
He'd do interviews and people would be like, I'm not. Yeah, I mean, he would leave them in the dust. That was
We're doing Al Kelly. Come on, this has got to be the only time today his name's being brought up. So I would do that kind of thing. So anyway, apparently I liked attention as a kid.
Yeah.
So and then when I got to school.
College, or you mean?
Right, then I went right to college as a 6-year-old, of course. Then I found out that I could make other kids laugh.
Okay.
But when I got to high school, was when I realized I could make the teachers laugh.
Yeah.
And that was because there was other funny kids in the school who were just disruptive, and they could make kids laugh. I thought that was low bar.
Oh,
I thought that was hitting from the ladies' tee. You hit from the regular tee, you can make the teachers laugh.
Yeah.
Then you're like, oh.
Then you're punching your weight. Yeah.
What do you think?
I love sports analogies. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I think it must have been really gratifying and a great moment for you to realize, like, I can do, I can make the adults laugh.
Yeah. And it was actually the teachers that encouraged me to go into stand-up.
Really? High school teachers?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That seems like malpractice.
Why?
I don't know. I mean,
you're saying I'm not that funny.
No, I'm saying guilty.
Bing, ding, like Steve Allen, ding.
I'm thinking that teachers are meant to send you towards college, kind of thing, which obviously you did.
I did. I went to NYU, but I mean, it wasn't like they were against it. But I grew up. This was in Florida. Mm-hmm. The name of the school I went to was called South Plantation High School.
Awesome.
Again, there was Plantation and South Plantation.
Sure.
So in this horribly racist city that I lived in, or let's not say racist, let's just say a nice tribute to slavery, city named after that.
Right.
That I lived in the less progressive part of that city, the South.
I see.
The red part.
The red state section.
Part of Plantation. So it wasn't like it's so funny, like when I met kids who grew up like in New York area and stuff, like the college and how they got in and where they went and who they knew and who their parents, like that was a big thing. I mean, I knew I was going to go to college, but it wasn't like, oh, you got to go to Ivy or this. And like it wasn't even like in our school. I think they were just happy we made it through the 4 years.
Oh, I understand that feeling. Do you still have family in Plantation, Florida?
Not in Plantation.
Okay.
No. But I do have cousins, and my aunt lives down there that live in Florida. Most of my immediate family moved out. I moved out of Florida 4 days after I graduated high school.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Never went back.
No, I mean to visit.
Right.
To visit, but no, I got out of there.
I like your bit where it said that you were hoping to move from Florida to New York to Minsk to backtrack the typical flight of.
Well, the way you did it is really good. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm not going to perform your material.
No, I love it.
Except maybe the Elton John bit, which I do love.
Okay.
But when did you first open mic or do stand up for in earnest for the very first time?
Well, I've talked about this on this show. Was in high school I started doing ventriloquism.
Right.
And then when I was in college, I did a one-man show. So what are you asking? My first open mic?
Yeah.
Because even in Florida, with the dummy, with Buford, I did a couple. There was something called gong shows back then.
Wow. Yeah.
That bars.
Yeah.
Like a gong show night. Go and perform, and if you win, you get champagne and some money or something. And I won a couple of those.
When you were in high school?
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Does that count as open mic?
Oh my gosh, yeah. No, I mean, I think there's a threshold that one has to cross where you go, I'm interested in this, I'm really curious about this, I think I'd be great at this, and then you go, there comes a time where you have to jump out of the plane, right? You have to go, please welcome Wayne Federman.
Yeah.
And step on stage and go, so this didn't happen earlier today, you know?
Yeah. So, but to do straight stand-up was, I auditioned at the Improv in New York, right when I went to college. Didn't get in, but that was like the late 70s, so.
And where does your funny come from? Like, I mean this in earnest. Like, was your dad funny, or was your mom funny, or?
I think they liked comedy.
Okay. Like, was it on in the house? Did they?
What?
Was it?
Well, there was they had, I hate to say it, those Bill Cosby albums were kind of big in our house, and
those were funny. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think they loved Woody Allen, and they liked comedy. Mm-hmm. So it was something that was like, oh, this is a thing. Yeah. To do comedy, and I was into it in high school. Like, I remember getting the book, The Last Laugh. Do you remember that book at all?
I do know that book. Yeah. It
was a book about the improv in New York. It was kind of the first book about the modern stand-up, and so I remember they getting me that book, and they were like, here's a book about it. Yeah. And so.
And you seem like somebody that would be into that, like that you dork out on the history of it.
Totally.
Yeah.
So Al Kelly.
Right.
I'm sure he's never been mentioned on this show. I'm not talking about you hosting. I'm talking about Kevin Pollak, the ex-host, the guy you got rid of.
Perfect. In last year, in the fall of last year, you wrote an article for Splitsider about the history of modern stand-up comedy. What did that pay? I feel like that's an article. And who do I email?
Oh my God, that is good.
I feel like that's an article you could have written off the top of your head. Like, I feel like that's. Am I right?
That's how.
Like, that's how
banal it was.
No. That's how
that's
fluffy.
How surface.
The use of the word "very" was aggressive.
That's an article. It seemed like you put no research in.
That's the opposite. That's the opposite of what I mean. I mean that it seems to me as though
I read that article. I was like, "Is this the first draft?" That he just these are just loose notes.
Lorem ipsum dolor. That seems weird. No, I mean.
I know what you're saying. You're saying that you probably thought that I had a lot of that information. I did. Yeah. I did.
I feel like that's a top of mind thing for you, that you're able to pull names like Al Kelly out of your brain.
Right.
And just talk about it.
No, I am. I don't know if I'm the original. Yeah, I guess before there was a term comedy nerd, I guess I was one of those guys.
That's great.
I goes really into radio comedians.
But where would you find that before in the 70s and 80s?
Yeah, interesting. Good question. I don't have an answer for it. I don't have an answer.
Really?
I should give you a little more time for your close-up.
They need to take the take, so
yeah.
Do it again?
That's a good question. There was a company called Radiola, which is out of Croton-on-Hudson. Do you know that city?
I've seen it.
Anyway,
I've never heard it said aloud before, and I'm not sure that's how you do it.
It might be wrong. I'm wrong quite a bit, by the way. So they had a catalog of old radio shows that they would put on LPs.
Wow.
And sell. Yeah. Now it's basically free on the internet, all of that stuff. But so that's how I learned about Fred Allen and Jack Benny and those, especially because I was into ventriloquism, Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy.
Yeah.
obviously the greatest job in show business, a ventriloquist on radio.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's the greatest job in history.
Right.
Television.
It would be like, the greatest juggler on radio.
Right.
Like, how would you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I kind of got into that and listened to it, and there was a few albums about it, and and then there was a lot of comedy on television at that time, and also young comedians were kind of breaking. There was that guy Freddie Prinze, did Chico and the Man,
of course,
and Jimmy Walker got famous on, and these were just like 22-year-old kids, or Prince even younger.
Was he really?
He was 19 when he did the Tonight Show.
Crazy.
Yeah, and a year later was like a millionaire on television.
Yeah.
So it was like I felt like there was something happening. It was more than just like, comedians are guys talking about their wives, like Alan King, like that generation. I felt.
Right.
So it was fun.
It's
fun.
It's fun. You're disappointed with that
Sometimes
tag, that
you
button?
say things, they come out of your mouth, and you're just like, what? Really?
I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. Oh.
Its own thing.
It's
Yeah.
It's interesting the movements in stand-up, like the different eras that you talk about in that Splitside article.
Right.
But also, I can remember reading something from Eddie Izzard maybe 10 years ago, saying like France didn't have stand-up like 10 or 15 years ago. That he learned to do his act in French and took it over there, and it was kind of a new thing because it, as recently as the turn of the century, like they weren't accustomed to people standing on a stage with a mic doing first-person lies. Do you you have a really fascinating career because I feel like you're kind of timeless. Like, no, truly. But also, like, in as much as you've been on the Tonight Show and fit that sort of really approachable, interesting and classic version of stand-up, like, you also have a total presence in the alt comedy scene out here. How dare you? That's a good question.
I don't know. I just feel like that's a good question. I don't know, because I know some comedians can't quite straddle that world.
Right.
And there was a few of us. I felt like a few, like Kindler and stuff, that like kind of
he does it.
Were able to.
But like, and I don't know any of these people personally, but like Tom Papa feels very commercial to me.
Right.
Very
right.
Like late night talk show kind of thing. Not many. I don't know many that can straddle what you do. Like,
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a wonderful skill set.
So maybe that'll be the name of my next album, The Straddler. Oh, you were going to say wonderful skill set.
Wonderful skill set.
All right.
Wayne Federman from everything. I mean, you've had a wonderful career in television and film.
My God, what happened?
What?
It sounds like I'm dead. It was like Wayne Federman. You had a wonderful life.
We've got a big thing for you at the end. This interview will end different than you expected.
You had a wonderful life.
But no, I mean, like,
it was a wonderful life.
Is there some news you want to break on?
No. It's all good.
You've been in everything.
That's an exaggeration, but keep going.
No, it's great. I mean, you've been in a billion television shows, and you.
By billion, you mean 40.
Okay, that's a ton. And I feel like you are one of those people, and this must feel very good.
Yeah.
That I feel like you pop into movies really frequently, and the audience emotionally downshifts. Like, they see you and they go, "This will be good." Like, they know you're recognized, even if not a household name. My brother may not know your name, but and my brother in Buffalo, New York. But if he saw you on screen, he'd be like, "This is about to be great."
Oh.
Yeah, it's true. No, he's 9 years older than I am, so I. Yeah.
Right. He was the one that punished you twice for the thing. I remember him.
Sure. Yeah.
I remember him.
But
you're from Buffalo?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Is this? Are we at the?
No, I never knew that.
Oh yeah.
I never knew that.
I grew up in Buffalo, New York.
All right, keep going.
So what? Do you remember your first television or film role? Like, so you went to college in New York. You did. You started stand up there, and you moved to Los Angeles. Was your first television or film credit there or here?
Well, I'll tell you. I always wanted to move to California.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to move to California until I had this one item in my pocket, and that was
a Screen Actors Guild card.
Exactly correct.
Yeah.
Exactly correct. Not a condom. Yeah.
None of my business.
Yeah. Oh, I thought I was opening up.
Oh, okay.
I've never had...
You didn't want to talk politics, but you're, okay.
No, I've never had a condom in my wallet. Do you know there was like a whole thing where it was like...
It would leave an indent.
Yeah. Have you ever? I'm just gonna... No.
No. There's something about cardigans. But I feel like that's a giant either or. That's a big Kierkegaardian dilemma there.
Okay. So, so Screen Actors. So I got my SAG card.
In New York.
Back door. Speaking of sex, if you had joined, you could join AFTRA at that time.
Okay. Cold.
Just
pay the dues or
just
pay the
initiation.
Just pay the thing,
yeah. And if you were in AFTRA for 1 year.
Oh, that's right.
And you got an after job, you could join SAG.
Okay.
That's what I did. So I did a stand-up show.
Yeah.
Soon as I signed that contract, went to get there, and that was the start of me coming to.
Now, was the initiation fee a fortune in your mind back then?
I know exactly what it was.
What was it?
It was $300 to join AFTRA.
Right.
And I believe, oh my God, I think it was $600 to join SAG. I think it was double.
That's a lot?
Yeah, it was a lot.
What year are we talking about?
This is the beginning of 1986.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah. It was. But it was like, I had no problem. Because there were so many doors shut in my face because I didn't have that SAG card in New York when I was trying to become a commercial or anything. Yeah. Just like agents, they were like, we're not interested in you. It's like,
yeah.
It's me, Wayne.
It's me, from Florida.
For PlayStation. What is wrong with you?
Right.
Why are you making this a horrible thing for me? So that's it. So that's how I got to California.
And then how long were you here before you booked a role?
A couple of years. It was a couple of years. But I was doing commercials. Does that count?
No.
I booked commercials pretty early on.
That's great. Commercials are the greatest. I do commercials to this day, and I love them. I see you at things.
Yeah.
I love them.
I'd like to be at the point in my career where I'm like, why is he still doing commercials?
Yeah.
But I'm not there yet.
Neither am I.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
You've done that to me at an audition before. I've come in and you're like, what are you doing here? Trying to get in my head prior to the thing.
Do you really feel like I was trying to get in your head?
No, I think you were saying hello. I guess what I'm driving at is I want to know what it was like on the set of Parent Trap Hawaiian Honeymoon.
Yeah, that was. Well, this is great. This is great question. That is one of the first things I booked. It might be the first thing I did book.
It's the first on your IMDb.
Yeah. Allison Jones cast me.
For real?
Yeah.
Is she a vampire? That's not possible.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Was she 9? I don't understand how that's possible.
Well, I mean, I don't want to out her as her age, but it's clearly on the credit. So, like, she was the first person to give me a job.
I love her. Yeah. I mean,
she's like the
comedy go-to person.
Would you say that? How would you describe it? To someone who didn't know. Talk to the camera.
Hello, I'm Marc Evan Jackson, commercial actor. Allison Jones casts a lot of the big budget comedy features that a lot of the Judd Apatow movies. She casts for Veep. She casts a lot of the great stuff. I mean, she's not alone in that regard. There are a handful of people like that in this town, but Allison Jones is.
There was just an article in the New Yorker about her.
I read it.
Yeah. New York.
New York Times.
New York Times. Okay, so. All right, this was the greatest because I, as a kid, had my first movie crush was on Haley Mills.
Oh, okay.
Because she was in the first movie I ever saw, a movie you've never heard of.
Don't tempt me.
But do you want me to tell you who's in the cast and you guess?
No, I won't know.
It's called In Search of the Castaways.
Okay.
And it was a Disney live action thing. She's in it, of course, adorable.
Yeah.
And so I was like, who is this girl and stuff? And then I have a scene with Haley Mills.
Wow.
It was one of the greatest things.
That's extraordinary, yeah.
Yeah.
Is she married to Orson Bean? I think that may be true. There's no way to find out, though.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think I might be right about that. We'll find out.
Do you want to bet on that?
No. So you did that.
And that was the first, that was the first.
And it's shot here in California?
Yeah, we shot it out in the, I think it was in the valley somewhere. But it was just great. I mean, it's just, and those 3 girls, sorry to spit, the 3 girls there's triplets. This was the new conceit.
Okay.
Our one is still acting, and one is married to a casting director. It's like I still know them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, wasn't great. Wasn't great the way I told that.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
That was the first.
And you seem to have a little bit of a history of playing characters named Wayne or even Wayne Federman. I know about the X-Files, obviously, and I've read your interviews on that subject.
Right.
But didn't you play a character called Wayne on Baywatch?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't use the word character. He literally had it was like a thank you right over here, or where can I find this? Oh, it's right over. It was.
Okay.
It's close to being an extra as you can be.
But it's credited.
It's credited. Baywatch, believe me.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
But yeah, is this what you refer to as your Federman and out kind of thing? In big budget comedies, you've played a lot of one scene of some exasperating dude.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thrilled.
No, I mean, Legally Blonde and
that's my
40-year-old.
That's my favorite one.
Is it really? Why
Not comedically, but socially.
What does that mean?
I've done a lot of them. You listed them all. Step Brothers, the 51st Dates.
Yeah, you listed them. I didn't.
I'm going to let you list them, and then 40-Year-Old Virgin, Dumb and Dumber. We can keep listing them. So, because I feel like that movie, more than any of them, really resonates with kids.
Oh yeah, Legally Blonde.
Yeah, it play especially young girls. Obviously, it's a female empowerment movie, and obviously I'm barely in it, but I'm in a crucial scene. Because if you think about it, she doesn't get into Harvard.
No movie.
No movie.
Yeah.
She's not a fish out of water.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely true.
So that's that was So I do a number of Federman. I have a new Federman and out coming.
What's that?
It's called The House.
Okay.
It's not even on. I know.
I was going to say.
I know. Look through your papers.
I was going to say, and Punching the Clown.
No.
Okay.
This comes out in 2017.
That's not even a year yet.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just straight. This is some abstract idea of what will be happening.
Yeah.
This is very futuristic. And it's again a classic Federman and out, one scene, and with Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, I know. So lucky.
Lovely people.
Oh, I guess you're personal friends with.
Go ahead. No, I'm just saying, comedically, these are great people to be with.
Yeah. All right, do you want to guess what the movie The House is about?
Sure.
Sorry to put you on. If you want to just say don't.
No, it's a sequel to Room, and
wait, the late night Room or The Room?
Not The Room. Room about Brie Larson being kidnapped and having forcibly having a baby. This is a whole house full of rooms, and it's
Will Ferrell goes from room to room impregnating. And where does Wayne fit in?
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
Okay, that's not it. The House is about a couple. Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler.
I actually feel. Is it about gambling?
Yes.
I feel like I did read about it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So they go to Vegas, lose their kid's nest egg for college fund. To me, I'm a dealer.
Oh, great.
So it's just this horrible, losing all your money thing. Me being the passive aggressive dealer, keep playing, that kind of thing. And so they're like, don't you know the house always wins? And they're like, bing, ding, light bulb, and they start their own gambling den in
their home.
Yes. So that's
in the house.
Yeah. So I'm just like a.
But where do they keep the girls? That's not part of it.
That's not part of it. That would be good.
I'm going to read some ads.
Yeah, I'm going to let you read that.
Speaking of money, today's Kevin Pollak Chat Show is sponsored by Fracture. Fracture is a photo decor company that is out to rescue your favorite images from the digital ether. They print your photos directly onto glass and add laser-cut rigid backing so they're ready to display right out of the box. They even include the wall anchor. Just upload your digital photo and pick your size. It is simply that simple. The Fracture process makes the color and contrast of your photo really pop, and the sleek, frameless design lets your photos stand out while still matching any decorating style. Bring a special memory to life, give it as a unique gift, or decorate your home with the moments that tell your story. Fractures come with a 60-day happiness guarantee. You don't often hear about happiness guarantees.
I don't have one.
They also don't mention money. So you'll be sure to love your order. Each fracture is handmade in Gainesville, Florida, from U.S. source materials in their carbon neutral factory. For more information and 10% off your first order, visit fractureme.com/podcast. Don't forget to mention Kevin Pollak's chat show in their one question survey. It helps support this program, now hosted by me. That's fractureme.com/podcast. Our thanks to our sponsors, Fracture. Also, Comedy Bang Bang Live is available on Howl FM, another sponsor of this show. It's like Netflix, but for podcasts. The Comedy Bang Bang Live tour is back on Howl this summer. In the 3-part exclusive Comedy Bang Bang 2016 tour Best of Special, listen to Scott Lauren and PFT. That's
I know you know him well.
Paul F. Tompkins.
Yeah.
We're tight. Listen to those guys share their favorite moments from the stage and stories from behind the scenes. Hear the new stops from the Comedy Bang Bang Live tour at Comic-Con in Montreal in Australia. You can't go to Australia. You can hear every single performance on Howl the next day. In addition to the 2016 live tour with Howl Premium, you get 42 more Comedy Bang Bang specials, along with exclusive access to more than 150 hours of original miniseries and audio documentaries, and over 100 comedy albums. If you haven't signed up for Howl yet, you can use the code Kevin when you check out on howl.fm to get a month of Howl Premium for free. And after your month of free trial, it is only $4.99 per month to get this all-exclusive content on iPhone, Android, and on the web. To redeem your promo code, make sure you create your account on the web at howl.fm and enter the code Kevin at checkout. That's HOWL.fm, and use the code KEVIN for a 1-month trial of Howl Premium. And we did it.
You did.
It's just that simple.
Right. Oh, wait, something's flying in.
Oh no,
Something's
this is from Kevin. Oh, I forgot to mention what Kevin told me at the top of the show. Yeah, I'll get to that. So Kevin sent me an email about the show, and he said, how should you start the show? Just look down the barrel and tell the fine folks from your heart how much you respect me and wish to the heavens above you could do what I do. And this just in, to the wonderful, forgiving, patient worldwide fans of Kevin Pollak's chat show, I have been kidnapped. Please send whatever you can to those that have taken me hostage. Should you find it in your loving heart, the generosity and desire to help, the only chance I have at freedom, not to mention the safe return to hosting this award-winning show once again. Do not be confused or concerned that the check should be made out to me and your loving envelopes be addressed to my name as well. I've been told by the kidnappers that this is the only way that this strategic, if not brilliant effort won't be traced back to them, as certain laws have definitely been broken. I know, that sounds a tad fishy. That's exactly what I said to them when they insisted it be done this way. I pleaded with them, in fact, that no one is going to make out a check of $300 or more to my name and not have it, at very least, a sneaking suspicion that is not as it appears to be, yet here we are. Well, here, my dear friend, my dear wildly talented friend, Marc Evan Jackson, it says it. It's right here. He is left holding down the fort, as it were. Your prayers are so very much appreciated. Sadly, there aren't quite enough to bring me home safely, but I feel your love, all of you, and I'm grateful for it. In closing, I want to assure my family that the bagels you sent made it to me, mostly uneaten, and were still quite flavorful. Thank you. And then, Mark, you should refuse to read this address because you can't be part of this. Okay. Sincerely, Chat Show, AKA Kevin Pollak.
That was lovely.
And we're out of time for today. I want to talk to you about the Wayne Federman International Film Festival.
Right.
Have you talked about it a ton everywhere else in your life?
No. I'm sorry. Did that seem bored?
Yeah, you were like, oh, this again.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That may be arresting.
Let's do it again. Let's do the throw in.
Wayne, with your permission, I'd love to talk to you about the Wayne Federman International Film Festival. See, it happened twice.
Oh, okay. Let's do it one more time. I'm sorry. I'm messing this up.
Welcome back. I'm joined by Wayne Federman here. With your permission, I'd love to talk about the Wayne Federman International.
Permission granted.
There we are. So you're in your 4th year now, is that right?
We've done 5 years.
You've done 5 years.
So, not right.
Okay.
So the opposite of right. It's like going wrong.
Wrong. What is it? And
this is what it is. It's comedians. Tend to be who have a following of sorts. Pick a movie that they love, and we screen it over a weekend. So we'll have like 5 or 6 comedians selecting a movie they love, and then we show them at this theater. They introduce it. We screen it, excuse me, and then we do a Q&A at the end.
Okay. And these are not necessarily comedic films.
Doesn't have to be. Could be any film.
Yeah.
Could be anything. Like, for example, Bill Burr. I don't know why I'm yelling. For example, Bill Burr.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bill Burr did did the Dirty Dozen, the 1967 Robert Aldrich film.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so that was interesting. Kathy Griffin did The Dead Zone. So.
And this is at the Cinefamily?
Yeah, Cinefamily. It's also called the Silent Movie Theater, although there's sound in there, so it's sort of an oxymoron or just a mistake.
It's a lie.
Which it's a lie. It's a lie. It's now a lie.
Are you associated with Cinefamily?
Well, I do that festival once a year there, and
because I don't love that name.
Cinefamily.
Right.
Tell me, what don't you like? What doesn't sit well with you?
It seems closer on the spectrum to like Cinnabon than cinema to me. Do you know what I mean? Like it sounds cute or something. Yeah. And they do like great things. They do such things that are meaningful and great. And I think that I don't know. I just don't love the name.
What if they had a Cinnabon facility inside Cinefamily?
That feels like selling out to me.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. But you do it there, and I assume it's colossally well attended this weekend.
Very well attended, and we also started doing it in New York.
Oh, that's great.
Once a year, it's part of the New York Comedy Festival.
How was this born? Did you just happen to pick a film one time and do it?
Well, I'm a film buff.
Is that right?
Yeah. I don't know if buff is the right word.
Entirely, yeah.
That means you like films, right?
It means you're naked, I think.
Right,
yeah.
So so I just love movies. This is my favorite form of entertainment. Like, for example, we're in what we call the golden age or peak television. Have you heard that term?
I have.
And so
do you agree with that?
Of course.
Okay.
But I'm not part of it.
You mean you're not benefiting from the rising tide?
No, I mean I'm benefiting. I'm on shows once in a while, but I'm saying I don't watch those shows.
Right.
I'll sample a show.
Yeah.
Like for even the big ones, even like The Wire or Breaking Bad.
I'm with you. I feel like
really.
Oh, entirely. I feel like
because most people I know are just like, we're into the Americans. We're into what's the one about the guy taking down the one percenters.
Mr. Robot?
Yes, yeah. I can't wait for that. Or I binge watch all of I feel like a lot of people. There's one called Game of Thrones on HBO.
No, there's not.
God, we're very similar in this regard.
I can't watch period costume dramas.
That's a fantasy, right?
They just seem so fake. No, I think it's a documentary.
We're so.
Yeah,
I mean that's unbelievable.
Yeah,
I mean, there was one I watched. Game of Thrones, and I know people go gaga.
I just don't get it. Yeah.
Show, right? We know that.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's established.
And there's like a lady, and she's topless. And like, all right, that's interesting. And then there's a dragon.
Right.
And I don't know if she's feeding the dragon. I was just like, I'm out. I don't want to know what this is.
Right.
This doesn't seem interesting.
This is my trajectory with that show.
Yeah.
I come home one day, and I turn on the television, and there's basically porn on. There's a woman on all fours,
right,
completely topless, with her breasts swinging, and a dude's behind her doing her doggy style, and they're in the top of a tower, and a kid climbs up the tower, looks in the window. The dude stops having sex with her, goes and pushes the kid, presumably to his death, although I've been told not, come to think of it, but pushes the kid out of the tower to the ground.
Right.
And I was like, what is this? And I mentioned this to friends who love the show, and their first reaction was like, yeah, those two are brother and sister. So the people who were having sex are brother, like, and it's like, this is not for me. This is not for me.
Right.
I was super disappointed. History Channel had a couple of years ago, it was like, oh, the Vikings, that looks cool.
Yeah.
And I turned it on and it was like, expecting a documentary about Vikings. Mm-hmm. And it was like guys going, oh, over here, this and that. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man. But even with things that aren't, period costume drama.
Yeah.
I like even Downton Abbey I have difficulty with.
Really?
Yeah.
That is a period costume drama.
I know. I don't like them.
Right.
But like that's in a time that's recent and more approachable. But like Mad Men, I don't have a problem with. I just think there's so much bandwidth now. Like there's so many television shows. Like I feel like I read in the trades every day that it's like this show I've never heard of on a network I've never heard of is renewed for season 4, and it's like what's happening? Like
I'm guessing the name of this show.
No, please.
Suits. Do you know that show?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's on. That's one of those shows that's been on a long time.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what network it's on, but I have seen an episode of it. Again, I sample television.
Oh, yeah,
like Whitman's.
Whitman Settler?
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Just
got
so
a map.
we know.
There's a map in the top of the box.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We call that a map.
Treasure map?
I think of that more of a key.
Okay. A legend?
Yeah.
I'll accept it.
So we're very similar on that regard. So, but movies,
Right.
like just this weekend, I saw Don't Think Twice. I saw The Infiltrator.
I don't know that.
Yeah, that's Bryan Cranston is in that,
Oh,
about a guy going undercover in the Colombia drug
Oh, wow.
cartel, and yeah, not great, but
Yeah.
I just love sitting in a movie theater, lights go down, let's do this.
Oh, I love
I
that.
feel a real connection to like the earliest cinema, the greats.
Sure.
Basically, Birth of a Nation, that's the greatest movie, right?
I don't know if that's true or not.
I'm kidding. It was,
I feel like you're an old soul, like you were born too late kind of thing. Like if I were handed proof right now, and I'm open to this,
Right.
that you enjoyed a past life in like the 20s, I'd be like, yeah, of course.
Oh, I see. I see. Do you believe in that kind of thing?
I don't know. I mean, I'm
Because
not.
I don't.
I'm not opposed to it. Well, then I'll take the other side. I have always believed firmly in it.
All right.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I just think that there's, there are connections to like I knew for no reason growing up in Buffalo, New York.
Yeah.
Even when I was a little kid, I was like, I want to sail schooners. I want to work on tall ships after, when I'm a little bit older. And I did. And when I was halfway through my first season, I found out that my great-great-grandfather in Prince Edward Island, Canada, was a schooner captain kind of thing.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
That was the Twilight Zone. You can get it on Netflix. What movie was your first one that you did for the film festival? What did you show first?
Oh, very interesting. Very sad.
Good. Good.
The first one, who was kind of the key to getting the festival off, was Gary Shandling.
Oh.
I told him about the festival. I played his brother on Larry Sanders' show.
Yeah.
And I pitched him the idea. Not pitched him, just said, this is an idea. He's like, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Because if you ever want me to do it, I'd love to show The King of Comedy.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, well, let me think about it. And then 2 days later, you sure you want to do this?
Yeah.
So he showed the kid. That was the very first one. I mean, I was a little nervous, having him. But it really, that movie really informed the Larry Sanders Show. In that it was part of it was shot on video. Have you ever seen The King of Comedy?
I don't know that I have.
Oh, interesting. It's a Martin Scorsese movie about a talk show host, a Carson-esque talk show host,
Yeah.
played by Jerry Lewis, who gets kidnapped by a crazy fan, and the ransom is the kid wants to do stand-up on the show. I know it sounds insane, but
amazing.
It's crazy good.
Yeah.
Crazy good. So that was the first.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And the last one we did was Patton Oswalt did a double feature, first time we've ever done a double feature, of Bad News Bears
Fantastic.
and The Taking of Pelham.
1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Two very different movies. When you do a double feature, do you Q&A in between? After?
Yeah, that's how we did. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you're very intuitive.
Well, I mean, I think that you'd lose. You're not going to want to discuss Boilermaker or whatever after Pelham 1, 2, 3, right?
Exactly.
It's a very cool idea. And
Thank you.
And do the Q&As last a long time? I mean, I would guess.
Kevin Pollak has done it, by the way.
Is that right?
Yeah, he did The In-Laws.
Oh, very cool.
Do you know that movie?
Yeah.
I feel like you're not the movie buff that I am.
I'm not a buff of anything, really.
Really?
Yeah,
What about
it's-
Schooners?
Well, that I know quite a bit about. Yeah, that kind of stuff, but not, I don't know.
Because I'm also into boating, but not
that true?
schooners. More sailing.
Yeah, well, schooners sail. What do you sail?
Well, when I was a kid in Florida, little sunfishes and stuff.
Sure.
But then, just little like 20-foot boats and stuff.
Totally. Do you sail out here?
No, I haven't.
Well, we should go sailing.
Is this going to happen?
Why not?
Do you have a boat? Do you want to rent
No,
one?
but I'm part of a thing in the marina.
Marina?
Yeah, where I
We're going to sail.
socially.
Do you wear a life preserver when you stand?
I don't.
Yeah.
I do when my goddaughter's aboard.
Oh.
She's 12, and I want her to be on one,
Right,
so
right,
I
right.
set a good example. But no,
Okay.
no, not wearing a life personal flotation device is a good incentive to stay aboard.
Right. Have you ever seen Jaws? Never mind. Go to the next question.
Is that a radio show? I have seen Jaws, and Jaws 2, Electric Boogaloo. How many times a week do you perform? Are you out most nights?
No,
Okay.
not anymore. Not anymore. I try to do. My goal is to do 3 sets a week.
That's great.
Sometimes it's 1.
Okay.
Sometimes it's 1.
And mostly here in town.
Mostly
you're
in
not
town.
You're not a road comic.
Just because I want. I mean, I do, and as a matter, I do. I do perform on the road, and I did a documentary about it called "I Am Road Comic."
Oh, I don't know that.
It's on Netflix right now.
Is it really? Mm-hmm. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I did not come across that in my research.
Yeah.
I Am Road Comic?
That
grammar
and it's
seems
about
questionable.
Of course. Couldn't agree more.
Maybe you could have used
We're
an
in a
editor.
lot of agreement here.
Yeah.
We're in a lot of agreement. So that's about a working one weekend at a very sketchy bar, like real road.
Yeah.
Not touring, not like,
Right. Not a center for the performing arts.
yeah, not I'm Louis C.K. and everyone come and see Louis C.K. live.
Right.
This is like comedy night at this bar.
Yeah.
This weekend, Friday and Saturday, Wayne Federman, a couple other people.
Yeah.
And just whatever that is, doing the morning show.
Yeah.
Doing the
morning radio.
Yeah, we did a morning TV show,
Okay.
did some morning radio, free meals at the at the hotel. It's pretty good. I'm
going to check it out.
Yeah,
I certainly will.
Yeah.
You're married. It's out, right? You're married to that title. So do you 3 sets a week? How often are you injecting new material? Do you write a lot still?
Let me show you. It's interesting.
Wow.
That's the new material. Here's the new. What does that say? Right at the top.
New bet.
Set.
Whatever.
That's the new set.
So
there's always.
Can I ask about it?
Yeah, you can ask. Any bits in there you want. But the thing is, I'm always have a pad of paper with me.
Yeah.
I tried.
You're analog. You're not dig.
I tried.
You tried the phone.
I don't like it as much.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll get an idea and I think it's less rude to pull out a piece of paper and write it down than to pull out a phone and put it into Evernote,
Right.
whatever your program. What do you use?
I just email it to myself.
Yeah. Email it to yourself.
Yeah.
And then it gets lost. Okay.
May I list some of these items?
But these are just. Yeah, I mean,
They're just bullet points. But I am curious what glutton/Cosby means.
Yeah, that's. I do a bit. I'm not going to do a whole bit, but it's basically this: that life, as you know, life is unpredictable. Sometimes you think it's bad, and it turns out to be. Let me give you a couple examples. I made a lot of money on a commercial, invested it all in the stock market, lost all my money, invested in gluten. So it was bad. But then, all right, okay, that's a stupid joke.
It's a great joke.
But then, 3 years ago, I draft Bill Cosby onto my comedy rape team. And he's crushing it. I had no idea. Everyone was saying go Mario Lopez, and I was like, let me try Cosby. It was just, so again, you don't know. That's why you don't kill yourself.
It's amazing.
That's one of my new bits.
It's a really funny new bit.
Thank you.
It's a really funny new bit. Plantation concentration camp?
Oh yeah, I'm trying to get, because I'm from Plantation, Florida.
Are you?
And it's like, and people don't believe it's a real place.
Right.
They're like, come on, that's too offensive.
They would have changed the name.
Yeah. I go, it's a real place. It's not like concentration camp, New Jersey. It's a real place. I'm not quite there yet.
It's really
so
funny.
anyway, so.
Oh my gosh, it's full of gold.
It's not, and blank pages.
Now, how many minutes would that represent?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, these are life hacks. Man, that's going to be good. I don't know, maybe 15.
15 minutes?
Maybe 15. So I always am writing down, have new ideas that I'm always working on. So if you saw me today,
I am.
I don't know why I'm yelling. If you saw me today
I can see you.
and doing stand-up, and then saw me in 2 months it might be 90% the same.
Okay.
95% the same.
Yeah.
But if you saw me in a year, it might be 50% the same. 60% the same. So it's a slow.
You slowly introduce.
I slowly introduce and take out things that are great, and just so it keeps moving.
But you must, so the tried and true stuff is something that if your new bits aren't working, you can fall back and go.
Of course, I panic and fall back.
Yeah.
And no question.
This far into the game for you, there's still panic and falling back. There's retreat and.
There is retreat. There's sometimes just like a dealer.
Right.
Like the Shanley.
Right.
Just like. Yeah, it's real. I mean, that's the big trick in it, because the only way to get new material is to kind of try out stuff.
To fail it, right?
And fail.
Yeah.
Like that's the game.
It's a total blessing, though, right? To you learn more from failure than from success.
Or it's terrible. That's why I don't think Eddie Murphy does stand up.
Really? Because he's not willing to do workout rooms and try it.
Unlike Chris Rock, he's just like,
right?
Oh, this is what you have to do. You have to go on stage and bomb and lot, and maybe I'll get a nugget here and there. But I just think Eddie, he got so successful. And in a way, I think Steve Martin was like that too. Like those guys that get so successful, just like the bar was so high that they have to be hysterical.
Right. They can't fail.
They can't fail. And the only way to do it is to fail.
So do you think Eddie Murphy is going to try the banjo?
He's going to.
Is that his next?
He's going to write a little.
An album with Edie Brickell? So it's
a theory. I mean, if Eddie's watching, I might be wrong. What do you think?
I can see that would be a syndrome, that you'd be like, wow, I'm globally famous. I was a little surprised at the SNL anniversary recently, the big one. What was it, 30 years or something? 40.
Yeah.
Like how much he stood apart as like the dude in the room. Like
because he had vowed never to be involved with them anymore. And
right.
And had a big falling out.
Right.
So. Yeah, it was big that he was back there, and I think people really appreciated.
Oh yeah,
what he did.
Oh my gosh, I mean, I think he's fantastic. But I think that I think that what you describe is entirely possible. That you would be like, well, I can't not kill even once anymore.
I don't want people seeing me do that.
Right.
Video of me.
Right.
But that's what the gig is.
Yeah.
So that's my dime store. Again, I know I'm an old soul, so I use dime store.
Yes, of course.
Right. As opposed to the
I
trade.
say 5 and 10.
You do?
Yeah. No. Do
yes,
young comedians come up to you and ask for advice?
Sometimes, but here's usually what I tell comedians is the golden rule is obviously get on stage as much as possible. I don't think that's changed.
No, I think so. Yeah.
I think but let me tell you who's an exception to that rule. Bo Burnham. Do you know him?
I know him, yeah.
Yeah, he's a comedian.
Kind of a YouTube dude, right?
Yeah, he started out, and he's phenomenal. He's just great. And he goes on stage and he works out stuff, but it seems like it's all worked out. But as a rule, I think you have to kind of go on stage. But outside of that, I'm just like...
Stage time.
Outside of stage time, I'm just like, do whatever you like. There is no rules. It's not like, you used to be like, you got to get 5 minutes and get on Johnny Carson's show.
Right, really tight.
Yeah, that's maybe not necessary at all. Let me give you another example. Maria Bamford.
Yeah.
Like Maria Bamford, how she navigated this whole world. If she came up during Joan Rivers' era, where you had to like fight, and I don't know if she would have been able to be seen and appreciated the way she is now. You know, doing these little web things, and she did, and all of that to her great new show. So I don't know. I feel like we're in a new comedy boom. That was in my Splitsider article. What do you think about that?
I think it's entirely accurate. I mean,
you do. You agree?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm curious who you think are the real up and comers, because I'm not super tapped in. I like guys that are newer, but I think to guys that are doing 10 minutes here and there probably are old guard establishment. But I think people like Hannibal Buress and Ron Funches and John Mulaney and Amy.
Incredible.
Just amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel like Amy, again, I'm not in the scene, but when I first saw Amy Schumer's, I think, mostly sex stuff. Yeah. It was like, how have I never heard of this woman before? She's bananas great.
Yeah.
She's so funny.
She is like a banana. It's really good.
That's precisely what I meant.
Well, do you know T.J. Miller?
Of course.
who I just think is a great comedian, very unique,
Yeah.
has his own, he's great.
He's a super weirdo. Like
Super weirdo.
He's a friend of mine, but yeah, he's
so great.
He's really unusual,
Very unusual.
and he'll do anything.
Right, fearless.
He'll
Seems
do
to be, I don't know if he is fearless, but
don't
he
know.
seems fearless.
That's a good question.
But he said something that I kind of agree with. I'm going to repeat here.
Yeah.
He said that he feels because of the amount of comedy that's accessible to people who want to be comedians, to young comedians, that we're going to breed a generation of super comedians that will far surpass. And I think maybe you're seeing that a little bit in that, just like you're exposed to like a high level of comedy.
Yeah.
Like again, I had to send money to Radiola back to looping us.
You had to do some work. Yeah.
Yeah. Now
the U.S. Postal Service was involved. Yeah.
Now you can go on YouTube and see the greatest comedians doing their greatest bits anytime.
Over and over again, as much as you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the comedians
and almost instantly.
Or even watch Amy Schumer, evolve.
Yeah.
Like there's some great bits about Louis C.K. on YouTube where you see him do a bit, but then you see him do it later on with more confidence.
Oh yeah.
And you can read the comments.
Yeah.
People talk about it. They're like, "Oh, I see why this is better now than it was then."
So it's graduate school. I mean, it's
Yes.
like a TED Talk on comedy. That's amazing.
I don't know. TED Talks are 20 minutes, but
18.
oh, do you know what TEDx is?
Yeah. You mean anybody's TED Talk?
That is my favorite kind of.
They're not all great.
I know, of course.
They're not all great.
Because a lot of times, this is the greatest TED Talk. It's like, oh, it's TEDx.
Right. Yeah.
That's like the what was the Oreo knockoff?
Hydrox.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's like the
It's a
Hydrox
Yeah.
of
Precisely.
TEDx.
Yeah, they're not all dynamite.
Right.
Who do you love coming up? Do you know?
Well, I mean, all of those guys you mentioned
Yeah.
are great. There's a guy-
Kumail.
Yeah. Oh, Kumail.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And
Love them.
Nate Bargatze, do you know him?
I know the name. Yeah.
He's incredible. And Sam Morrell, he was just on the Roast Battle in New York.
Okay.
He's great. And it's just a bunch. There's a bunch of great comedians. But can we go back to Paul F. Tompkins a little bit?
Let's do. Yeah.
Because Paul F. Tompkins is another guy I really think is, God, I'm so lax to use the word, or hesitant to use the word genius, but I really think he is.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I do, and I think
You're close. You work with him all the time.
I do.
Yeah.
And I'm friends with him, but I that doesn't impede me from loving what he does. Like
I think it's more. I'm more than love what he does. I'm like just stunned.
The thing, as you know, like I really don't do stand-up comedy. I
Right.
do a character bit with a friend of mine,
Right.
Sky and Nancy Collins from Orange County. I've tried stand-up like first person as me, and
Right.
it's a wholly different set of circumstances. Like
tricky,
it's really tricky. It's really scary. And Paul doesn't do bits. Like he does like 10-minute section. Like he does stories and characters and stuff that are such a commitment. Like my fear would be being in the
2 minutes
two
in.
and a half minutes in and going like, boy, this is not landing.
Right.
And I'm 7 minutes away from my big finish or whatever. But he keeps it so human and so approachable throughout. And he's just a funny, his just persona, his delivery, his everything is really engaging and unique. I mean, there aren't two.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
No, I dig him a lot. I think he's a very funny dude. Let's talk for a moment about the Chronicles of Federman.
Please don't hold it up.
I'm going to hold it up.
Don't
And
hold it up.
make sure it shines
Yeah,
at least
don't-
some of the time.
Don't.
This is a fascinating compilation of 30 years of your work.
The first bit is from 1984,
It's crazy.
about the '84 Olympics in Los Angeles.
I remember. Did you come across old audio and then go, oh, I wonder how much of this I could find? And then, like, what was the genesis of this idea to compile it? And besides money.
Well, one was it's both thrilling and there's kind of a sad component to it as well. Thrilling in that I've never put out a comedy album.
Really?
Yeah, this is my debut album.
That's insane.
It's insanity.
You're
You're saying insane.
It's crazy to me. that this is your first recorded comedy album because you marinated in comedy albums.
I know. No one ever wanted to put out a comedy album with me. So I've been thinking about it. Comedians, for a decade now, people are like, you got to have something on Sirius Radio and stuff like that. And I was like, all right. And then my manager, a guy named Dave Rath, we were talking about it, and we kind of came up with this idea that maybe we could do for my 30th thing, because I have these old recordings. It's just like, I was doing these shows at Largo, and they would record them. And he was like, this is as good as anything you've ever done, Wayne. Right. That's what he said. I don't know if I agree with that. But so I was like, oh, well, that's nice to hear. And he goes, and now you have this recording. So I knew I had already 30 minutes of kind of new, relatively new stuff, which is on the third disc. And then I was like, maybe we could put together, because I have these recordings from my whole career. And the sad part was I was saying, they were just some are on old VHS tapes and things like that, just sitting on a shelf.
The fidelity is not what it might be.
And also just look, I was on that shit. What does it even mean? The weird, I don't want to get too existential, but, past and present is all kind of a dream. Does that make any sense?
You had just agreed with me on past lives, but yeah.
I love being checkmated in the middle of trying to open up.
Oh, we're past the middle.
Oh, I see. And then, so I found a way to transfer them.
Yeah.
There's been luckily a revolution in technology where you can now take out the hiss and make bad audio pretty good, or very good. So I learned that program.
Oh, really? You did it yourself? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
The first piece is from 1984. In what room?
That's at the comic strip in New York City.
That's right.
The comic strip in New York City.
And the last piece is in the basement of a mall in Israel. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
Well, I listened to it.
Yeah. That's the last one. I was just touring the world and
it's
doing
amazing
stuff and.
It holds up.
Thank you.
Your athlete's foot stuff, your older bits.
It's amazing. It's incredible.
You know that, right? You recognize.
No, I have no idea. I have no idea, if my stuff just seems too cliche or too just another observational comedian.
Right.
That's kind of there's a lot of us. There's a lot of observational comedians.
You think of yourself as an observational comedian?
Well, I think the core is, but there's also kind of a silly musical thing that kind of permeates the whole thing.
Now, I want to talk about that.
Yeah. But even back then, I was doing the ukulele and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's there's always been kind of and Sarah, I'm going to drop a name, Sarah Silverman and I did a show at Brooklyn Academy of Music. Just this insane theater. You're just oh, this is why I'm in show business.
Yeah.
This is incredible. And she introduced me. She goes, he's wonderful today. He's ridiculous. Please welcome.
Yeah.
And no one had ever introduced me like that. And I was like, that might be what I am.
Ridiculous.
Kind of ridiculous. And I thought it as a total compliment.
Yeah.
Just oh, I see what it. All right, that's interesting.
It fits with. I think that comedy rape team.
Did you say comedy rape team?
Comedy rape team, your Cosby bit is ridiculous.
Oh, it was ridiculous. Oh, okay, yeah.
So you're mainstream ridiculous.
Thank you.
No, I think that's an apt thing. So you think of yourself as an observational comedian, but you could talk yourself out of any bit, right? I find myself writing down bits and going
of course.
They all come off like airplane food, right?
Right.
So you just have to take the stage and go, I'm going to tell a story about bad drivers or traffic,
and
own it. Because if you inject doubt, you would never write anything down, right?
Look, the whole thing is weird.
Yeah.
The whole idea of stand-up is bizarre. If there was someone who came from a different planet and just watched what happens in a comedy club, you'd be
yeah,
people,
I've often
and one guy on stage with the mic, like, what is going on here?
I think that
is he convincing them of something? And they're making this weird sound. It's like
it looked really foreign, didn't it? I think applause. I was just going to say. I think applause is a really strange, like, bang some body parts together.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
How did that start? Do you have any idea?
Make noise. Like how? Like I don't know. I think if aliens came down and saw applause, they'd be like, "What the fuck is going on right here?" Like it's a really strange.
I agree with it.
Yeah.
It's strange. It's strange. So anyway, that's the.
It's very cool. I want to talk very briefly about writing for late night. You wrote for Jimmy Fallon. Had you had any experience with that skill set in particular? I know you write for award shows too.
Yeah, now I do a little bit. Briefly. I mean, that was just because I was touring with Jimmy Fallon.
Okay.
Before he did late night, he brought me. We went out on the road. He was like, "Wayne, I need a new act. Can you help me with this?" Because just a riff back and forth. And so I was like, yeah. So he would open for me.
You were just a little bit Jimmy Fallon when you did that conversation. Yeah, a little bit.
He would open for me, and then during the day we would write new bits for him. Of course, everyone coming to the shows were there to see him, not me. And it didn't take long to come up with 30 minutes because he's very easy to write for.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of skills. And then, of course, we switched. Like, I went back to, Cinderella. Oh, now I'm back to the opening act. Okay, I can deal with this.
Yeah.
And then he went on from there, and it was like, I'm starting the show in the fall, or would you like to help me out? I was like, I'll do it for a year. Like, let's give it a try.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was fun. It was challenging, and I don't know. I loved having the job. I loved going to work at 30 Rock.
You moved back to New York for him.
Yeah. I moved back to New York. I loved going to work at that building.
Yeah.
I mean, just because, as you know,
it's like the Paramount lot of New York City, right? Like it's a classic.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like in that room where they do the Tonight Show now, it's where they did the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, but they also did this. You may not even know the show, Milton Berle's Texaco Star Theater, which was like kind of the
That's
big,
the same.
That's
stage?
6B.
Wow.
6B.
Yeah.
It's not really a stage. It's just like these studios.
Right.
And here's something I learned. I was like, Radio City. They used to call those studios 6B, 7B, 7A, 8A, AB, up through H on all those floors. They used to call that Radio City. That's why it's called Radio City Music Hall.
Really?
Like, Television City here?
Yeah, CBS Television City?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was known as Radio City because it was doing radio shows there all the time.
Each one of those studios.
That's why we're here when you say Radio City Music Hall.
That's very cool.
I know. I know. I loved it. I
cool.
loved it there. I loved it there.
I've asked about your diet.
You did?
Yeah, dietary restrictions.
Oh, my.
Because you do appear to be the Highlander a little bit. Like,
I don't know what that means.
you seem immortal a little bit. I feel like right now you could play one of the alpha guys in Animal House, like from back in the day.
Okay.
Like I feel like if you dressed as you normally do, you could go do that right now. I ran into you at the LA Podfest a year ago, and you had just posted a photo of you and Mel Brooks.
Right.
And you were giddy at having met Mel Brooks. You met him backstage at a.
I wrote for him. I wrote. This is, again, these award show writing gigs they're fun, but they're not high level.
Okay.
You're writing patter between two people who are on Unreal or something. It's fine. I'm not complaining. But Mel Brooks was presenting, and so Mel Brooks was like, so I came up with an idea. So I sent it off. Goes through his people. He's like, yeah, I think I'll do this. Then he gets there. He's like, I feel like we could do better than this.
Yeah.
He said, you're the one who wrote it. I was like, yeah. He goes, come on, sit. So we literally sit in a room. The writer's room is Wayne Federman and Mel Brooks. That's it.
That's amazing.
And he's like pitching ideas. I'm scribbling it down.
Yeah.
It was insane. It was one of the biggest thrills of my life.
That's really cool.
Absolutely. I mean, I know that's not hyperbole.
No.
I was like, yeah, and then he went, and it went well, and then afterwards, he's like, let's get a picture together. I was like, okay, let's.
He asked you for a picture?
Yeah.
That's all-time life achievement.
He didn't say, let's get a picture. He said, would you like to get a picture?
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah.
That's kind of amazing.
It was, and you've seen Blazing Saddles.
Uh-huh.
Do you know that Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein came out in the same year?
That's not possible, is it?
It's not possible. It's history.
Wow.
It's actual a fact.
That's amazing.
1974. Could you imagine that?
No. No, that's insane.
That's a great year.
That's a pretty good year.
That's a great year for him. But I was just thinking about, I know we have to wrap up, but the end of Blazing Saddles is, to me, one of the greatest comedic turns ever in the history of comedy. I don't think it's ever been done before, where they pull back and you're seeing, oh, there's a film, Blazing Saddles, being shot, and then that film crashes into the making of another film,
Right.
but sort of the plot continues, and then they go to a screening of a movie called Blazing Saddles. It's like...
You know what it is? Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. I want to ask one last thing.
The final question.
Well, ish. Here's something I hate about you.
Yes.
Your music.
Yeah.
Because
it's terrible.
No.
Oh.
I understand that you had ukulele going on early on in your career.
Yep.
But piano is something that you've introduced fairly recently, and you told me not long ago that you don't really have any formal training in it.
Correct.
That's insane. How is that possible? I spent years of my life studying that stuff.
Really?
And you casually sit down and are like, oh, let's call the whole thing off.
Right.
And
that's a Gershwin tune.
I understand.
Yeah.
How?
By the way, George and Ira Gershwin.
Uh-huh.
When I was a kid, I thought Ira was his wife. I didn't know that was a guy's name.
Interesting. Yeah.
It makes sense, right?
It totally makes sense.
Okay.
No, there's no
Just
shame.
again, I'm wrong about a lot of things. So.
Very few from what I can tell.
All right, go ahead.
Why?
Do you say tomato?
I say potato.
Yeah. Okay.
What? Why are you so good instantly at music? It's infuriating.
I'm just not instantly. I love practicing.
Okay.
It's my.
Do you have a piano?
I have a keyboard.
Okay.
Unfortunately, where I live now, I don't have room for a piano. I just love it. I love music.
I get that. I love, I love anything. I can't do it. Like it feels to me as though you, in a relatively short amount of time.
No, that's not true.
Okay.
I like it practice a lot.
You have a bit on the compilation, on the Chronicles of Federman, where you say, I want to do an impression. You say, it's Elton John. And you go play a big fat chord and you go, bam, bam. And that's the entire bit. And it's very funny. But like even that is a fairly meaty, complex chord. It's some big 7, 9, 13.
Yeah.
Why are you able to do that?
I mean, it's like...
Can you read music?
I can read chords.
Okay.
I know what a chord is.
Yeah.
So... No, I'm a chord...
Meaning that you can read guitar tabs?
Yes.
Okay.
So in other words, I'm a guitar-based piano player.
Okay.
So I went from ukulele, taught myself guitar.
Yeah.
You know a lot of people. Like,
I know a lot of people.
Play guitar, right?
Oh, sure.
Like even stupid hippie girls can play guitar, right?
Ouch. Wow.
Am I wrong?
That's how you want to go out.
Something crazy offensive. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Just like,
sure.
So I can pod and I can still play guitar. Like
right.
It's not... So that knowledge was once I realized that could be transferred to the piano, I was like, all right. This is going to take a little practice, and then I nailed it. Not nailed it, but I still practice.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you have
to. Do you meditate?
I've just begun meditating.
Yeah, because it seems like you need it.
Awesome. On that note, what is Punching the Clown? That's something that you got coming up. That's not out yet, is it?
No, that's not out yet.
It seems like it has a great cast. It's Tig and Sarah and
J.K. Simmons is in it. Yeah, it was. Okay, don't tell me. Henry Phillips movie. It's the sequel to. He had a movie called Punching the Clown. This is called
And
Punching the Clown.
Okay.
And it's he's just a great music comedian, and it's just a beautiful little independent film.
Very cool.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I have a lot more things to ask you, but I think we're out of time.
We are.
So we'll have to pick this up. I'm going to check out I Am Road Comic.
You are?
Sick.
Okay, I know we're wrapping, so just in our wrapping tone, how do you feel you did? Now, do you judge yourself when you do things?
I just feel like this was a super good warm-up for when we actually do it.
Okay.
And I think it'll go really well. No, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not keeping score.
You're not.
I think there are things I probably could have done better as a host.
Right.
I mean, I know I crushed what Kevin probably does. I don't watch this show. But no, so back at you, how do you feel that this went on your part?
It was good. I felt like,
I feel like you were good up until the dumb hippie chicks thing, and then I feel like some people turned the channel. These are on channels, right? I feel like that.
There is a side of me that's a little like, there is a side of me that does like to kind of walk up to offensive a little bit.
Sure.
I know it sounds weird because I'm very...
Really? Comedy rape team?
Right. It's self-evident. But yeah, I think I do like to, although I don't really swear on stage. As a rule. I mean, there's a couple times on there, but not that much.
Is that because, is that
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. It's just like I don't like to. I don't like how all right, never mind. But I don't like how prevalent swearing has become in society.
Sure.
But I feel like I'm railing against something that's stupid.
I feel like you are an old soul who was born too late.
Okay.
So in addition to the Chronicles of Federman...
Don't hold it up.
I'm going to shine it on everything. This is available on iTunes, which is where I got it.
Oh, thank you.
$14.99.
Right.
It's obviously available in hard currency as well, in a three disc form.
For those people who still know how to use a CD player.
Yeah, it's fascinating, and you should really check it out.
Thank you for listening to it.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. No, I think you have a bright future in comedy. I think you're a real up-and-comer.
Thanks, buddy.
Anything else that you'd like to plug?
No, sir. No.
Really?
I mean, you want to follow me?
Yeah, follow it. Where are you followable at?
Twitter.
Is that new?
That's a new thing. At Federman.
Okay.
At Federman. That's enough.
Great.
Yeah.
And I am at Marc Evan Jackson, MarcEvanJackson. I would also like to plug a charity that I run in the city of Detroit. It's called the Detroit Creativity Project, and we teach improv to middle and high school students in the inner city of Detroit. Check out dcpimprov.org. Anything else that I have to do for you guys to end this program?
Just sign off.
Where? I was going to billboard a guest for next week. I don't know who it is. I was going to billboard a guest host for next week. I don't know who it is. So from me, Marc Evan Jackson, and thanks to Wayne Federman.
You're welcome.
We will see you another time here on the Kevin Pollak Chat Show. Can we do the whole thing again?